Good evening, everybody. It is Monday, the 22nd of April for episode 132 of So What's Been Happening. This one's an exciting one. We head off to Sydney, catch up with a Sydney band called Golden Fang. Look forward to having a chat to Carl Redfern shortly. But just before we do, there's plenty going on at the moment. Anzac weekend coming up, where we pay tribute to our Anzacs. And also get out and see a few gigs. That's what I'm suggesting you do this Wednesday night, just before the public holiday in Melbourne, off to the Cherry Bar to see Dead City Ruins and Casanovas. So that's your first one on the list. And then off to Thursday night, the finish of the residency for Patrick Wilson at the Gem Bar. Try and get down to that one. And if that's not for you, get down to Lithe Tavern with Willie J. Maxwell and his band, the 6v6s. So try and get down there for that one. That'll be a 10 o'clock kind of kickoff. And the 25th also at Shot Kickers, Peter Farnan. You may know that name, but make sure you get out these, check Peter Farnan and the Homebodies at Shot Kickers. And then Friday back at the Gem for a residency with Emily South. This is her last one with a band called Slow Mo. Make sure you go and check that one. And I know these are very much Melbourne-focused gigs, which I'm hoping Carl can tell me about a couple of gigs that are coming up, hopefully in Sydney as well. So I should have done a little bit more Sydney research for you Sydney punters, but not to worry. Here we go with a couple of last ones at the Old Bar. Great to see plenty happening at the moment. Kate Alexander with Al Matcott at the Old Bar. And then Saturday, Ash Naylor, who's in multiple bands, including The Church, Paul Kelly, even. This is an in-store he did a couple of weeks ago as well, but also doing this one in Footscray in Melbourne, Cocoa Bananas. So this will be an acoustic set. You don't get to see Ash play an acoustic set very often, so it's a bit of a blessing for a couple of weeks in a row. And then Saturday, the 27th, Kay Walsh with a band called Hogwash, which are the good guys from Luley Tavern as well. So check that one out at the Gem. And then the Super Sunday, this is going to be a huge one. This is known as the Super Terrific Happy Hour, which is going to happen at Northcote Social Club. There's a heap of bands there, including Hard Ons, Clam, The Prize, Pauper Spit, Cold Irons Bound, Summer Flake, Lost and Meningos, Hot Machine, Mark Sinton Band, and Little Faiths. Get out and see that one. That's a big one. That's about a 1 o'clock kickoff all the way through to late at night. And just another one from an art point of view. We talked about the Benalla Street Art Festival not long ago. This one is in Mordialloc, the Wall to Wall Festival. Get out there and check out that one with about 10 or so artists painting large murals around the place. And just a promotion for tomorrow night, we're also going to catch up with Sin City and talk about their new album, Another Round. So having a chat to those guys from tomorrow night, 8 o'clock. All right, here we go. Bear with me, I'm a touch short of breath at the moment because I'm fighting the man flu. So apologies for not being as sharp as normal, but look forward to continuing this tonight and having a chat to Carl now from Golden Fang. So let's bring him up. Welcome to episode 132 of So What's Been Happening.
Hi there, everyone.
Saved the best till last, so to speak. It's not our last, but it's great to have you on finally, Carl.
Thank you. So it's a pleasure to be here. And 132 episodes. That's actually really good going. I didn't actually appreciate you guys had been going for that long too. That's impressive.
Yeah, look, a little bit of history on kind of how this show got put together. It was basically a chat during COVID. We all got sick of those days just jumping on Zoom. We all know the music industry got plummeted and pretty much stopped dead in its tracks overnight, obviously, and so did so many other industries. So we jumped on live one day on Facebook. We had no idea what we're doing. Jumped on and just had a chat and had a musician mate of ours kind of play a few tunes in between how shit we were feeling at the time. And then it kind of snowballed from there, and we started talking to interviews in relation to artists themselves and musicians, sports people, talking about their lives and what was happening, just to give a little bit more, I don't know, break the pain of what we're all going through.
Grim times, that's for sure.
Yeah, and 100 odd episodes later, as we break out, 3 years we've been doing this, so it's kind of really pushed along now, but we do it really to continue to talk to bands, meet new artists, talk about album releases and recordings. And it all sits in a vault, and hopefully someone picks it up one day and finds out a little bit more about a band they didn't know. So look forward to having Golden Fang tonight.
Yeah, fantastic. It was a weird old time. We made a record during lockdown, amazingly somehow.
Yeah.
We had the one of the rare breaks in where we could see each other. We managed to get ourselves into a studio and record a bunch of songs, which is our last record. So it was kind of weird. We were lucky we had that project whilst we were in lockdown, in second lockdown. We were sort of mixing and doing stuff like that, which kind of, that record, Man with Telltale Scars, it really kind of kept us sort of sane a little bit, actually. Well, as sane as we can be considered anyway.
It's great to be able to do that and have an outlet during that tough time. Obviously not being able to gig the album as such. So when did you get a chance to actually release the album and then go out and gig it?
Well, that album we unfortunately we didn't really get to gig because it came out in lockdown. We played a few shows to support it, which was good, but this album we've just released now called Small Worlds, that's just been out a month or so, and we've got a whole bunch of gigs coming up. We had a big launch for it a couple of weeks ago, which was good fun. We've got a bunch of gigs coming up to support it, coupled with a couple of Melbourne artists as well, which is great. We've got a show with Big League, who I think you guys you're familiar with. They've been on your show. Yeah, those guys are great. So we're really looking forward to playing with them next month.
Great.
Got a gig with Charlie Marshall in a month or two, and a good mate of ours, Joe Mears, who's from Sydney but has a Melbourne band called Silver Bullets. Yep. We're playing with at their launch in a week or two, which has a bunch of Melbourne people coming up for that launch.
Very exciting.
So we've got a bunch of shows coming up, which is exciting and good for us to flog off some T-shirts and records that we need to sell.
It is. And we just got through Record Store Day. I take it was Record Store Day up in Sydney as well, as it is around the world. So how was that for you? Is vinyl kind of on your agenda? I know you've put out a vinyl, but
I love vinyl. I didn't actually get up to Record Store Day. We've got a RPM, which is a fantastic record store here in Marrickville. And I know it was absolutely chockers on the day, but I actually didn't get up. I've got like a box of Golden Fang records I probably need to sell before I buy any records myself. But yeah, I love vinyl. I've got a good little collection of. I always try and get vinyl from bands that I like as well.
Yep.
Looking forward to getting Big Leagues when they come up to Sydney. I'm really looking forward to getting a copy of their record. It's got some incredible artwork, which is one of the wonderful things about vinyl, is enjoying the art, the whole physical package of it.
And the scale of artwork, it doesn't scale down to a little thumbnail. Big, it sits in a little.
Thumbnails are, whilst they're important, aren't very satisfying.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, let's touch on. We might as well kick it off and just start with the artwork for this particular album. Tell us a little bit about this shot or this image.
So that was our guitarist Teo. He drew that. He's an artist, and he does these really fine pencil drawings, which like there's a whole theory behind it, which I won't try and explain because I'll get it incredibly wrong. But it's we really love this drawing, and Teo put it forward to use for the music, and it sort of, we'd made a bit of a conscious effort to try and make the music on this record a little bit more, I don't know, cinematic or something, a bit more atmospheric. And we sort of thought that this drawing of Teo's really captured the mood of the music, which is a bit sort of maybe introspective, A bit like this image. We're struck by the idea of that there's somebody in their own world, but they're potentially having a surround sound visual experience inside their box.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful drawing, and if people like it, they should check out Tio's work. He's got his own website, Tio Trelaw. He does really fantastic stuff.
Yeah, he sure does. I've looked at a couple of those images in amongst the album itself, and
cool.
Yeah, incredibly detailed, and look forward to hearing from him about that conversation in relation to.
Yeah, we'll get him in next time. It's a pity so we were talking before. He's sequence of things that have prevented him from making it tonight, unfortunately. Sure. But next time for sure. He could probably do explaining it a little bit more justice than I.
That's okay, no problem. Well, a quick shout out to Tio Trelaw and his amazing efforts. Not just part of the band, but so much more. It's great to have someone on board like that. Definitely.
Yeah. He's a unique character. He teaches art as well, so it's sort of his job, and he's pretty dedicated artist outside of playing music.
Yep. All right, well, just before we play the clip for Blue Boy, just tell us a little bit about the song, mate. Where that come from, and probably the thoughts behind the little clip as well. We'll play a minute or so of the clip. Yeah,
it was one of those songs the actual guitar parts I'd been tinkering with forever, and I was on holiday, and I was at this really lovely place called Currawong, which is on the sort of the basin of the Hawkesbury River north of Sydney here, and I was just watching this really sort of interesting scene. There was this little boy, he'd sort of swum out on his boogie board. It was like, it's in the basin, it's relatively safe, but he'd gone quite far from shore, and his mother was just calling him and starting to panic and trying to get him to come back, and he was just out in the water having a great time. And I sort of got struck by the notion of somebody just in their own world, and people being unable to understand each other's fears and panics. And so it's essentially a song about having relationships with somebody who's maybe not doing so well, and you can't get through to them. Made the song for the video, and we wanted to just sort of make the video for it quite atmospheric, and just the feeling of being a little bit sort of lost in nature and always trying to get somewhere, and to try and make it sort of moody and considered in some way. So that was the idea behind it.
Sure.
Just me shooting it with a GoPro, diving in and out of various different water holes around Sydney. So
yeah. Well, we get to feature a minute or so of this now. Well, let's play a little bit of it and capture a bit of the essence of Blue Boy.
And you can see sing that too. And you can wipe it away. Like a cold bit of sweat on a summer's day. And you can be right nude. Yeah, it's up to you. And you can be right nude. Yeah, it's up to you.
I'll leave it there because I urge everyone to jump on YouTube and check that out. Blue Boy, it's a great song, mate. It's got a real journey kind of feel about it, and some great guitar riffs there.
Thanks. Yeah,
nice jangly and just a really nice feel and some nice strong lyrics. I hear the influence of obviously Nick Cave in amongst that as well, and nice and deep rhythms there, and I really love it. So
cool. I'm
ashamed
of it, man, so it's all right. I'll take that.
You're right.
Smile.
Where did that one come in the recording phase of this album?
Well, we recorded this in a relatively interesting way. We worked with a guy, Ant Dimke, who's from Melbourne, played in a band called Ponyface, and Ant has somebody we met through mutual friend Joe Mears, who we mentioned before. Ant came up to Sydney, and we had a little portable recording studio. So we were sort of recording these songs in various different rehearsal rooms and different spaces. We tried to stay away from going into an actual recording studio, and we did a little bit here in this room, my place, and recorded a bit at Elephant Tracks, the hip hop label. They have some studio space here in Marrickville, which they kindly lent to us for a little bit. So we recorded a bit in their spare room, which was very nice of them. So we kind of the songs, we recorded them in such a mixed up way that it was kind of an organic and nice process. All the songs were largely written before we recorded, but Anth, being a clever producer that he is, sort of pushed us quite a lot as we were actually recording them, and I think he actually got a bit of magic out of us as we were playing, and just sort of slight adjustments to arrangements and things, just really subtle touches that really sort of took them all to a next level for us.
Yep. And he's a new producer for you? You haven't used him before?
No, yeah, we hadn't. We'd worked with prior to this record, we'd done a few records with Jay Wally of Frenzal Rom.
Yep.
In his little studio here in Marrickville, would go in and record with Jay, which has been great. Jay's a wizard. He's the rock and roll wizard. But just for this one, we thought we'd try and do something a bit different, so as to not maybe repeat ourselves too much. So that's how we ended up working with Ant. I met him through Joe, as I said before, and he had a really interesting way of thinking and talking about recording. We thought, we'll give this a go.
Yeah, it's how does that kind of feel when you kind of give your thoughts and what you believe the album's going to feel and look like, and you kind of hand it off into the hands of, like handing on your baby, I guess, into someone else to look after. Yeah, what's that thought? What's that like? And does it take you long to get kind of comfortable in that space?
Yeah, it does a bit. I think we all because the band Golden Fang it's a highly collaborative band. We everything sort of goes through, like we're an incredibly flawed democracy of a band, so everything really has to be, everyone signs off, everyone gets their input, and everyone's the Joe, our drummer, and Justin, our bass player, are very really strong voices in how the song should end up. So so adding a producer into that mix was challenging at times. But I think the more we did it with Anth, the more we could appreciate that he was sort of really elevating what we were doing. So yeah, it was really good. And at the end, by the end of the process, we were loving it, and we'll definitely make more music with Anth. That's for sure.
Yeah. How long was the recording process for the album overall?
Oh wow, I'm actually not even entirely sure. It's the first record, like every other record we've made, we've sort of booked 3 days in a studio and gone in and just like recorded them, and that's that. Whereas this time, because of the way we were doing it, it was nearly a year of going to different places and re-recording songs sometimes and tinkering with them, and then a lot of backwardsing and forwardsing. So I say a year, but a lot of that was just thinking time as well, just considering versions of songs and mixes and that sort of thing.
Yeah. Does that feel different or very different? Sounds like, obviously, to what you've been used to before, three-day kind of recording, and then it's in the can, so to speak, and mastered. And you kind of think, well, was it ever really finished, or that was just it because you were on borrowed time, basically?
Yeah, I think it was very different and probably better in some ways. I think everyone, with all of our records, I think everyone at some point or another has gone, after the record's been gone, oh wow, this is a nice way to play it. Wish I'd done that on the record. So as doing it this way gave you the chance for a few of those catch-ups to go, oh wow, I've stumbled on a better way to play this bit, or whatever it might be. And so that sort of elasticated process gave us a chance to explore those sort of avenues.
Yeah, I think that's a great place as an artist to be able to just let thing find its own kind of water and own balance, I guess you'd say, and especially a collaborative approach with an entire band, and in this case with another producer. You're kind of really ebbing and flowing and trying to let it find its own level of where the finished kind of piece really ends up. So it's a really great way to do it. And you mentioned before that lyrics were kind of done pre-recording in relation to kind of doing the entire song, I should say. Is that normally the process for you, or is that new to this album?
Yeah, no, that's normally the one. Like we would normally write all the songs and then bring them to the band, and it's usually a process with I'll spend an age, sometimes a decades working on a song, and then bring it to the band, and they'll either dismiss it outright, or they'll say, oh, we like this one, and then it'll be sort of worked on by the band and be turned into how it ends up. But usually all the sort of like the lyrics and everything like that are in the song are thought through beforehand.
And the lyrics for you generally, are they stories and of situations that have happened with you or people or the band, or what's kind of the emotion?
No, I never really know how they come about. And as I said, sometimes I'm sitting on them for ages and I forget what I even started writing it about. And so often they sort of change a little bit. I'll be thinking about someone or something, and then something I wrote ages ago will sort of, oh wow, that's right, that thing that seems to fit with this, and there's a song. So yes, I've never really sort of had a consistent process, other than I'm always picking up the guitar and playing it and singing along. And after a while, these things coalesce and stick together, and then you've got a song.
Well, that sounds like the perfect segue for you to offer us. You've been kind enough to offer us a couple of songs tonight, so we might take you up on that offer right now.
No worries. This is my pretty beaten up old rattler guitar that most of our songs get written on. So it might sound a bit buzzy, but that's the way I like it.
Sure.
This one's called Dirty Hands. It's on our record. responsible prick. You have no sense of what you missed. Ooh, you got dirty hands. Oh, nothing. He keeps a picture up on his wall. She hasn't thought about him in years, if at all. Just a problem that went away. That's how everyone would like it, but to stay here. Ooh, you got dirty hands. Oh, nothing. Did you believe in change? Make the same mistakes over and over again? And did you put your faith in fate? Tea leaves, broken plates, stars are all in their place. Did you hold on to your hate? The bottom's pit will keep you awake, walking upright and straight. Did you wash his dirty hands? Did you wash his dirty hands?
Cheers, mate. That was great.
Thank you. Yeah, normally has a sort searing guitar solo from Tio at the end there.
That feels a little bit different to the album, but that's cool. That's a great part about the acoustic component is you get to kind of really catch some of the lyrics.
Yeah, it's the bones of the song, I guess.
Yeah, you've got dirty hands, and nothing can clean those dirty hands. Pretty powerful line. Yeah,
that's right. It's about a bad father, basically. Somebody that pissed off and then regrets it, and there's not a lot you can come. There's not many ways you can come back from that.
Yeah. An interesting one. That's actually the last track on the album, I believe, too. Track 8. Interesting enough, I'd love to hear from you how you decide what track goes where in the kind of list. Is that what's your take on it?
I think it's that with our bands, it's a massive process of everyone putting a track list forward and putting their suggestion to why, and we normally get to the best possible way in the end, and it's a bit of a process. I think we spend almost as much time doing that as we do anything else. with this particular record, we've sort of wanted that song near the end because it is like it's a bit of a barn burner on the album. It's got a big energy and there's actually one more song after it on the record, a song called Like a Ghost. And it sort of has almost the sort of opposite energy. So we kind of thought these two, they're both kind of epic and they sort of just sat really well together. And I think sometimes that's just a part of that process as well, as what sounds good next to what.
Yeah. Well, look, apologies. It's not the last song. The bonus track. I actually had it on your Bandcamp and I had it listed just there reading the lyrics. So I didn't have it scrolled right down to the bottom. So apologies for that.
All good. But yeah, so that one, the last song on the record, Like a Ghost, that was one that I really sort of liked that song to be the final song, because I think it's one of those, it's kind of got a little bit of a dreamy sort of atmosphere, and I think it sort of leaves, hopefully leaves the listener feeling connected with the music at some level.
Yep.
And wanting to listen again. That's what we want.
Well, now that we've warmed up your vocals and got your hands moving again, we might get you for one more before we continue the chat.
Yeah, thanks. Right, this one's called How Many Demons? How many people sleeping on the floor? How many colors are up on your wall? And are you getting your back to the wheel? You wanna eat, you gotta steal. Do-do-do. Do-do-do. How many demons did Joshua kill with Stephen Hill? How many friends did you see fall? How many bottles grew up on your wall? How many demons? Yeah. How many demons? Yeah. How many? Do-do-do. Do-do-do. Do you even wanna know? Yeah, for what low these cracks go, and how many demons? Yeah, how many demons retched into your soul? Do you really wanna know? Do-do-do. Do-do-do.
Yeah. Once again, some really, really powerful thoughts in that. Very much so. Do we actually want to open ourselves up sometimes and
Yeah.
find out those cracks.
Yeah.
And exactly that conversation in relation to demons in people's lives. It's
that's
great.
it.
It's a really emotive song, and I
Thank
really
you.
love the fact you've put it together, because it does really embark that emotion to, do you really want to know? Well, if you do, this is my story, you know, and I think it's a great one.
Yeah, that's exactly what the song's about. Is inner demons. Everyone's got them. And that song on the record, people want to. That's one of my favorites. The that we've done, the particularly the beat of it and the way it's put together musically is really a little bit magical. We've got our friend Sydney, who's a Sydney artist, Donna Amini, just a beautiful singer. She came along and did some really wonderful vocals on that for us. And the song was, in some ways, that we were trying to make. I love that Quasimodo's Dream, the old Reels song.
Yeah.
And I was really wanting to make a song that was like our version of that, that sort of ethereal sort of the nature of that song. And I think we, in our own way, we managed to really do that. So yeah, really proud of that one, actually.
Yeah, very good. Thanks for playing both of those for us tonight.
My pleasure. Thanks for letting me.
Golden Fang. .bandcamp.com. That's probably the quickest way, easiest way to find the guys and jump on and grab an album. Most importantly, if it's not a whole album, grab a song, gift a song, do whatever you can to help spread the love. I guarantee you, when you send it off to someone and it ends up in their inbox, you'll get a very nice note thanking them for not only being the musicians that you're supporting, but also getting to hear live music from a band you may not have known. So Bandcamp's a great way to be able to do it.
Indeed. Yeah, I love Bandcamp. It's a real artist space. It's I mean, we're all on Spotify. I hate Spotify, but we kind of all have to be there. I don't know, we've all convinced ourselves we have to be there at the very least.
Yeah.
But Bandcamp is like, it's allows artists to interact with the audience in the way that you want to, and it's all very democratic. You can allow your music to be streamed as much or as little as you want, and charge what you want. And Bandcamp, it's very democratic. They take their percent, which is fair enough, which is not very much. It's pretty modest, and only when something's sold. So yeah, it's great.
And they're also generous enough to do Bandcamp Fridays, where the money, all the money goes to the artist, which is really cool. Yeah.
But bigger fan of record stores, but we don't.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's hard. I mean, it's a bit of a necessary evil, I guess, to be online. But a great way to spread your music out to so many other people. And also, I like the fact that you may also like kind of sections really down the bottom where you come across other bands that you may not necessarily have heard.
Yeah, totally.
And let's touch on artwork, Carl. That obviously we talked about Tio and before. Was Tio a big part of any other parts of your albums or singles? Like I bring up, one of your last albums. Who was behind this one?
So that was actually painted by our old drummer.
Right.
Our first drummer, Mark Hetherington, he's a painter. He left the band about 4 years ago, he moved to to Adelaide. So he's down in Adelaide now, and we were able to work with him with a series of different paintings for that last record. And the title of that painting is Man with Telltale Scars, which was, I thought, a pretty great name for a record. And the painting, I think, pretty much represents all of us coming out of COVID, which was when we were doing that particular album.
Yeah. And another one here. There's some great covers here.
Yeah. That's another painting by Mark. That was the cover to our single, Don't Be That Way.
Yeah. And this one was really cool. I thought that was a great piece.
Yeah, he's a fantastic artist, Mark. We missed him terribly when he left. So it was great to be able to collaborate with him on some artwork for a record.
Yeah, it helps to have someone super talented in the band that can help with that part as well.
So Tio, I mean, he supervises all the artwork that we've done. So if this is the first cover that he's drawn himself.
Yeah, right.
But the rest of them he's sort of put together. The other album that's there, Here Now Here, is a series of photographs that Tio took at the New York Natural History Museum.
Okay. Yep.
They're a series of really beautiful photographs of their stills of animals, their models. We discovered one of the image photos we used, Sydney band. Oh my goodness, I've gone blank. Really famous Sydney band also used a photo of the same exhibit from almost the exact same spot for one of the covers of their. Oh my God, why can't I think of the name of this band? This is killing me. They had a record, Love Buzz, which was a big hit. Not the Falling Joys. Sorry. I'll stop thinking about it and it'll come to me.
Yeah, no problem. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Just on that, influences. Who are some of your biggest influences as you've kind of, you're not new in your music by any stretch of the imagination. So you've had many influences, obviously, over the years. But who were some of your really early influences, and why that kind of got you into music?
Well, I was. I think I started writing my first songs on a tennis racket when I was about 15.
Yeah, nice.
And I had this. I'd sort of discovered. I have a really strong memory of being young and hearing "Take a Long Line" by the Angels on the radio, and feeling, oh wow, this is incredible, and then the sense that not long after that, I saw a poster for the Angels playing a gig that was near me, and it occurred to me, oh wow, these people like this actually happens near me, and sort of somewhat as a result of that, I've always been a big fan of Australian music. So the artists that, particularly at that early age, that really inspired me were bands like Sunny Boys and The Church and New Christ, and a lot of these sort of artists that would play around Sydney, Ed Cooper. And I've always been really inspired by bands that I can see and songs I've always loved. A big fan of Australian music, basically, and local music.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. And the last album you bought, do you remember?
Oh, last album I bought. Actually, I bought. This was. I bought two. I can't remember which was the last one. The reissue of Dave Graney's Night of the Wolverine, which is one of my favorite records.
Yeah.
Which I bought at a gig and Dave autographed, which was great. That was, and I got Built to Spill as the last record I bought on vinyl, which not an Aussie band, but really great, inspiring band for me anyway.
Yeah. And the rest of the band, kind of, where else are these influences for the band currently? Where's everyone's kind of really go to at the moment, or must listen? Have they got anyone? Overall?
Yeah, well, I think a bunch of Joe, our drummer in Tio, went and saw Wilco just recently, so I think they've been pretty inspired by that. JT, our bass player, he's I think he's always moving through different artists. He's sort of often posting links to various different things. The one that Interpol is the band that he's sort of recently gotten into.
Okay. Yep.
I think he quite likes the sort of the energy and the bass.
Yep.
Tio's madly into his guitar tone, and he's kind of quite obsessive about the sound that his guitar makes. And he's been really into the Smile record, the guy from Radiohead's new record.
Yep.
He's also really into and you can probably hear it on our records once you know it. He's a big Pixies fan.
Okay. Yep. Well, can't wait to have Pixies out here with Pearl Jam.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm really looking forward to seeing that.
That'll be great. And we, I think we got there. Hummingbirds.
Hummingbirds, yes. Thank you. Oh, good one. Thank you, Doubtful Sounds.
Nice to have someone listening in to give us a bit of a prompt when you go blank. It's easy to do. And a shout out to a good friend of ours in Canada, from the Brain Strong Network of Canada. This guy jumps on religiously on a show no matter what time we do a show. So it was 5:30 in the morning for him. So you're spreading the love all the way to Canada. So thanks, Robert Wine, for jumping on board and supporting us as always. All right, we're going to touch just do a couple of videos before we finish. I want to just go a little bit further back. We're off to about 2021, I think this was. Don't Be That Way. We're going to play a little bit of this and have a chat about it.
Cool.
There you go. Nice little posterized kind of clip. Really cool. Back from, I felt like I was kicking back watching Rage there for a second.
That's very much got that vibe.
It has. Just on those, on clips and stuff, how important do you think it still is to have, that visual representation of a song? We really struggle to probably sit and listen to entire albums these days with a fast-paced kind of world. But to be able to give you something else to help market the product, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I love albums. Like I don't really listen to playlists very much. I prefer to just listen to a record.
Yep.
But I think the videos it's sort of from a band perspective, they're important to make because gives people an easy in to help understand the band and see if they like it, and it's also more shareable than a record as well. So from that sort of perspective of wanting your music to get out there, I think having those videos are like you sort of really need to do it. They're kind of hard to do as well, but you sort of have to go. You have to do it really.
Yeah, we're going to flash back to around 2016. We're going back a little bit now. Fingers and Flames. It's important to flash back and see kind of where the band was and see where the band kind of became now 9 or so years on. So 8 years on. Let's not call it 9 yet.
Yeah, we're not that old yet.
All right, here you go. Fingers and Flames. There you go. Fingers and Flames 2016. It's aging beautifully.
Yeah. Filmed with an iPhone.
Isn't it great?
Edited on an iPhone.
Yeah, and we're still filming on iPhones, let's face it.
Yeah, that's
quality's a lot better and everyone's trying to process them back to something old and look vintage again. So
yeah, I think that's exactly what we did in that one as well. So.
Yeah. Have guitars and stuff changed for you along the way? New purchases, old purchases? What have you
I've got more or less just the 2 guitars I've always had. Was my Telecaster and a Rickenbacker that I've had since the 90s. They're both incredibly reliable and good guitars. And Tio, on the other hand, he is responsible for most of the guitar sounds that you hear on the records, and he's constantly searching for the perfect tone. So he's always buying and selling his guitars.
Yep.
He's just got himself a Gibson E135, one of those sort of semi-hollow body guitars. So I think that'll be all over our next record.
Beautiful. It's great. It's great how the influences of different, not only guitars, but pedals and amps and all sorts of things have such a massive influence on where the album and what that sound you're trying to chasing. It's an endless battle to try and chase a sound, isn't it?
Yeah, and we also use Justin, our bass player, is he's a bit of a multi-instrumentalist, really, rather than just than a bass player solely. He's got a baritone guitar which we sprinkle throughout the album, and it just adds this really extra shimmery tone that you miss when it's not there. It's,
right. Yeah, very nice. Very nice. A couple of last questions off for you before we go. And thanks for spending almost an hour of your time tonight.
It's been a pleasure. And I've actually really enjoyed it. Thank you for having me.
No problem. And thanks to Chris Familton, obviously, for hooking us up and putting us together. Incredible lineup of artists that he kind of represents. An incredible job. So well done, Chris. Thank you.
Indeed. Thank you, Chris.
Yep. So a couple of
city guy in Australia.
He sure is. Couple of last questions. If you could load up your car now and jet off to somewhere, no matter how you got there, where would you be as far as the venue you'd like to play at? Is there kind of somewhere, no matter what size band you are now, and think of it at any level, is there kind of one stage or venue you'd absolutely love to play?
I have to say Brixton Academy. I think I'd quite like to fly back in time as well to the 70s and play at the Brixton Academy. I think that would be pretty awesome.
definitely. And somewhere to record the next album, maybe. Have you kind of come across a studio or heard of a studio or researched a studio you think?
Well, yeah, we're kind of, for the next one, we're kind of keen to go out bush and try and get ourselves in an old house or barn or something like that somewhere out in the country, have some dedicated time. Maybe we've always recorded like going somewhere for a day, and then we've not sort of had the luxury of having a few days just to focus on music. So I think that's the plan for the next one, is to get out of town and do it somewhere out in the wild. Not sure where yet.
Yeah, well, it could be a real challenge, time frame wise, after the way your last album kind of came together. And
yeah, well, I think this time we'll try and do it. We'll try and do a mixture of the way we've done it in the past, where we've been somewhere. This time we'll take a bit longer, but have dedicated time away from lives and stress and all that sort of stuff. And
yeah. And although this is a new album, which has just really been released, is there any kind of time frame? Have you put yourself under pressure for the next kind of album? How far in the works is it?
Not really. I typically sort of write 1 or 2 albums ahead of what we're releasing, so I've got the material for lots of, like, maybe another couple of records. So
awesome.
It's just whenever that we can get them together as a band, and it makes sense, we'll go and do it. As soon as I'm of the mind of, you need to sort of always be working on new material. I think what bands need to do. You need to sort of be moving forward.
Yep.
So yeah, there's no time frame for that, but we'll get there.
Beautiful.
Can really.
Yeah. Well, if you can, when we jump off this in the next couple of days, if you can drop some links in the comments to some of your gigs you got coming up, and where you're supporting, that'd be fantastic for people to come across. And also, have you got kind of one in particular you're kind of setting yourself for in the next couple of months as far as a big gig for yourselves?
We've got there's 2 that are coming up. We've got a bunch of great, as mentioned, we're supporting Big League and Charlie Marshall, which we're really looking forward to. Charlie we've played with before a few years ago, which was fantastic. So
yep.
Looking forward to hanging out with Charlie again. But next Friday, it's we're with the launch of Joe Mears. So Saturday the 4th at Marrickville Bowling Club.
Yep. Which
is going to be a huge gig. It's with Joe's band, the Silver Bullets, local, and 2 Sydney bands, Sexy Xmas and Syntax Error, who are both fantastic. It's a big lineup. It's going to be a really great gig.
Okay. Yep.
That's Marrickville Bowling Club on the 4th, Saturday the 4th, and in June, we've got our own little mini festival we're having here in Marrickville, which is called Old Dogs, New Tricks, which is I'm playing with my son's band, who's supporting. They're a ska punk band called Meow Meow and the Smackouts. So they're going to be playing with us, and and there's another sort of couple of a young person band and our generation's band, which is a bit older. It's a multi-generational music day that's happening at Gasoline Pony.
Yeah. And how cool to play in a band with members of your own family.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Yeah.
The gig we're doing with Charlie Marshall, actually, Charlie's doing gigs with his son on drums.
Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah.
Great. So that is pretty great.
Fantastic. All right. Well, we might touch base in the next couple of months when you've kind of pulled together a new show or new release or anything you put together. Please reach out to us, and we'll have you on for a little small segment in amongst the rest of our shows that we do, and look forward to having a chat to Tio. We didn't get to talk footy, Tio, when you listen into this, so you're welcome anytime to come in and talk about
it.
Yeah.
All right, nice one, Aaron. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Carl. Thanks for joining us. Golden Fang, please check them out. Just a quick link again for goldenfang.bandcamp.com. And just on when we talk band names, there's some fantastic band names out there, but Golden Fang's one of the good ones for sure. How did that name come about?
After, I don't know, maybe 500 text messages with different options between Teo and myself.
Yep.
Golden Fang is a great Chinese restaurant next to a venue here in Sydney.
Right.
And it's also the name of the mysterious mafia, the mysterious mafia in Inherent Vice. So it was kind of, it picked up on a couple of things we kind of liked.
Yes. Oh, it's great. And it sticks for sure, sticks in the mind. So thanks for joining us, Carl. Carl Redfern, everyone.
Thank you.
It's been fantastic to have you on. So enjoy the week, mate. Enjoy the celebrations and not commiserations, the celebrations and honouring our Anzacs over the next week or so.
Indeed.
So see you out there.
Thank you, Aaron. Thanks, mate. Thanks, everyone.
Brilliant to have Carl Redfern joining us from Golden Fang tomorrow night. We're just going to also touch on the fact that we have Sin City joining us, which is great. Chris Familton's come through again for us and put together another one for us for a couple of the boys jumping on and having a chat tomorrow night, playing a couple of songs as well. And then we're going to jump on Wednesday night as well for a quick chat and talk sport just before the AFL round gets kicked off on a Wednesday night. So thanks everyone for joining me. Another hour has gone by on episode 132 of So What's Been Happening. Fantastic to have so many guests join us. We love hearing about new music. Please reach out to us at any time. There's the link tree with all our details. It'd be great to have the boys on again in the next couple of days to talk sport and talk life. You've been listening to and watching episode 132 of So What's Been Happening. Have a great night and we'll see you out there. Ciao.